The Alliance for Equality of Blind Canadians is pleased to present this audio-video replay. Please remember to like our videos and subscribe to our YouTube channel to receive notifications of future content.
Ani Bojo, Julia Nijnikash, Omami Wanini, Maru Skarini, Anishnabe Kwe and Dao, Whitney Nindonjaba, Makwan and Dodam. Hello, everyone. Good morning for those who it's morning, and good afternoon, good evening. My name is Julia McKeithran. I am an Algonquin, Anishinaabe, and mixed settler woman from the Madawaska Valley. And Bear is my clan. And I'm joining you all today from the unceded traditional territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe peoples, known today colonially as Ottawa, Ontario. But now, although I'm located on unceded Algonquin Anishinaabe territory today, I'd like to acknowledge that wherever we are across Turtle Island or North America, Canada, we are on Indigenous lands. Now, if anyone on this call is curious to learn more about the territory that you reside in, I'd recommend or invite you to visit www.nativeland.net, and perhaps I'll put this link in the chat. This is a great resource, and it was actually made by my cousin, where you can plug in any address across Canada, and it's growing internationally, and it'll tell you all about the traditional territory in which the address that you plug in. Now, I am the national coordinator at Indigenous Disability Canada and the BC Aboriginal Network on Disability Society, a national Indigenous disability organization that's dedicated to advancing the disability and health priorities of Indigenous peoples. But the work I do is not only guided by my professional role, but by my traditional teachings and those from my community. So our stories, our language, our history, and the experiences of my ancestors and my family. And I also carry a personal understanding of disability, and my immediate family members and other family members and loved ones have neurological, episodic, and physical disabilities. And being an Indigenous person and being raised by a single mother in a very small community, I was privy to understanding what it's like to be unaware of supports or resources available to Indigenous persons with disabilities. And those personal experiences keep me grounded and remind me every day why the work that we do matters. And I'd like to thank and honor the AEBC for the theme for this event, because, of course, being inclusive does benefit everyone. And in many Indigenous teachings and in my teachings, we say all my relations. And that's the understanding that all of us are interconnected, and that the strength of our community is measured not by who's just included, but who is also included and lifted up and supported. And this theme reflects this teaching so beautifully. In many Indigenous worldviews or teachings, identity, disability, relationships, and community are all connected. In our elders or our knowledge keepers remind us that every person carries unique gifts and strengths and responsibilities. And there is, in many Indigenous communities, there is no traditional or Indigenous word for disability. It doesn't translate. And instead, we speak of different abilities. And it's from a strength-based approach where we speak on the ways in which folks contribute positively and add value to our lives and as community members. And also from these teachings, accessibility and inclusion, they're not seen as an accommodation or an afterthought. It's just basic respect that is an expectation that is built into our lives and our teachings and our actions. And it's how we uphold the dignity of every person. And that aligns so strongly with why we're here today, I think, because we're here to bust the myths that create exclusion. And in Algonquin and Anishinaabe culture, truth-telling and storytelling is an essential practice. And we speak honestly and openly, both about what harms us and what heals us, and busting myths about disability is a form of truth telling. Um, Now, I don't want to monopolize too much time, and originally I wanted to invite you all to join me in a virtual smudging, but I'm currently sitting in my office in a building where I can't currently light anything on fire. So that plan went out the window. So I just like to close us off by saying Chimigwech to the creator for bringing us together today.
1:10 p.m.
I ask that the creator watch over our time together to guide our conversations and to support our learning today. And vice versa, in turn, I'd like to ask that we all commit ourselves to learning and listening deeply, honoring one another's experiences, and helping to build a community and a country where inclusion is not just a value, but it's a practice. So, Chi Miigwech, thank you, merci, and then Michael, I will pass it back to you.
Thank you, Julia, for those words. I'm sorry that we did not get to participate in the smudging ceremony. That sounds like it would have been a lot of fun, but you didn't want to set off the fire alarm, or which I completely understand. So welcome everyone. This is the 9th annual International Day of Persons with Disability Conference organized by AEBC. So this day is marked, the International Day for People with Disabilities is marked on December 3rd since 1992. And its aims are to promote, understanding of disability issues, and also to increase support for the dignity, rights, and well-being of people with disabilities. It also seeks to increase awareness of the benefits from inclusion of persons with disabilities. And of course, that's this year's conference theme. So I'm proud that Baker McKenzie is a sponsor this year, and I'd also like to thank our other sponsors, Trailblazers Tandem Cycling Club, the Ontario Council for International Cooperation, and the Canadian Council of the Blind-BC-Yukon Division for their support too. So just a reminder before I turn it to our next speaker, when we have the Q&A session, the Zoom keystrokes for muting on a PC is Alt-A. On a Mac, it's Command-Shift-A. And the mute-unmute button on a smartphone, if you've been dialing in, is *6. To raise or lower your hand on a PC, it's Alt-Y. On a Mac, it's Option-Y. And the raise lower hand button on a smartphone is *9. So our next speaker is Karoline Bourdeau, and she's a popular speaker at many conferences, and she's facilitated a number of workshops on topics ranging from human rights, communication, and advocacy. She holds a political science degree in gender studies and political science, as well as a Juris Doctor, all from Queen's University. In my online reading about Karoline, I saw that she was involved in at least one court case where she was asked to leave a grocery store because of her guide dog. And she took that case to a human rights tribunal who found that she had suffered considerable distress and loss of dignity, and ordered the business to post a sign at their store indicating that service animals are welcome. Karoline's recent activities include accessibility testing and technology coaching. She volunteers with several charities, and she's a member of the Triple Vision podcast team. So with all that said, Karoline, over to you.
Hi, everyone. I think I've unmuted myself successfully. Is that right? Am I unmuted?
You are.
Yes, you are.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for giving me the opportunity. I will say that, like other speakers, I woke up with a cold today, so if I sound a little weird, my apologies. I'm going to be sharing my iPhone screen in a minute to demonstrate some of the AI tools that I use, but I'll start by telling you a little bit about how I got to this place where I am talking about AI, because if you had told me that I'd be presenting about AI even like 2 years ago, I would have told you you're drinking funny things, because I didn't expect that. But AI has been a very helpful tool or set of tools for me, and they are helpful to everyone. Sorry for a second. Is there any way to turn off the announcements that tell us people are coming in and leaving? Do we know? 'Cause
I'll look for that.
Sorry?
Active speaker avatar.
I
An
will look for
illustration
that.
of two white circles.
Okay,
White text.
awesome, because it triggers everything to start talking here.
Active
So
speaker
it makes
video.
for a little interesting times.
Circles. White text against a
So
background. Karoline Butler's mini brown active speaker video. An illustration of two
okay,
white circles.
so
White
the
text
tools that I
against a
use,
background.
sorry,
Karoline-
the tools that I use all the time are basically Be My Eyes, that Be My AI feature. I have a set of Meta glasses. I've been a user of Seeing AI since almost the beginnings of it. Recently, I have really gotten to know ChatGPT and use it a lot. But I also have access to Gemini and the Copilot. So there are like hundreds of these AI tools out there. I chose to only show you a couple of them because I wanted to talk to you about safety as well on the use of AI, because we need to be very mindful that these are language models that are being trained based on our usage of these tools. So you need to be very careful not to share information that's going to be exposing to you. So like any personal information, if that makes sense. I also plan on having a Q&A session towards the end. So if you have questions, please write them down or take note of them. And then when we open it up to questions, we can talk about them. Okay, if you allow me a moment, I'm going to share my iPhone screen so I can start the demos. The uses I'm going to show you, I want you to know they are not just technical. They are everyday situations that anyone could make use of. So you're going to hear my iPhone talking.
You are using an Zoom meeting. Leave this meet AI join start 50 chat reaction share AI share.
I'm just going to share.
Screen button.
Sharing my screen.
Photos. Share iCloud webs cancel web share photos. Screen button. Everything on your screen, including notifications, will be record screen broadcast selected. Zoom start broadcast button 3 stop 2 1 sharing screen.
Okay, is that too fast or too slow?
Joined.
Is this speed okay?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, thank you.
Alert. The host has asked you to start your video.
Oh.
Selected Zoom stop broadcast selected Zoom stop broadcast button.
It's okay.
Okay,
I
I'm
got
gonna
it.
stop.
I got it. It's okay.
Okay.
Stop broadcast selected screen everything on your screen in
Can you see
Zoom.
my
The
screen?
host has asked you to start your video.
Just keep going and we'll deal with it. No worries.
Sylvia Jonas Joe.
Okay.
The host has asked weather no Facebook IDPD folder.
So what I
It
did was
heading
I created a
is
folder with all the apps that I wanted to demonstrate today so that I'm not flipping all over the place. And then the first one I will show you is Be My Eyes. And I will open it.
seeing AI. It head see be my eyes. Be my eyes.
I don't know if everyone here is familiar with Be My Eyes, but it started out as an application where you could call a volunteer anywhere in the world and they would be able to view something you're looking at through your camera and help you figure out whatever it is you need to figure out. When it first started out, I was using them for things like, what is this Keurig coffee pod? So that I know which flavor it was. Sometimes I used them to help me set my oven, which was at the time definitely not accessible. My oven is still not accessible, but I've used them since for so many other things, like what's on my computer screen when I was having the blue screen of death, and I was home alone. Now they've expanded the service a lot so that you can actually contact Microsoft, Google, accessibility support, and many, many more services. So if you're not using this application, I would suggest that you download it and start exploring it because it is helpful. So I'm going to go to my history in Be My Eyes because I have some pictures that I would like to share with you and show you just how useful this is in a really practical way. So I'll go to history.
Take picture history button selected all button 1 of 3. Today heading.
So this morning, when I was trying to figure out what color socks I pulled out of the drawer, I put them on the bed and I took a picture and asked, got Be My AI to describe them, and I will read that description.
Christmas tree wick today had crisp 3 rolled up pairs of socks sitting side by side on a burgundy colored fabric surface. Button. Action yesterday 3 rolled up in progress. Be My AI. 3 rolled up pairs of socks sitting side by side on a burgundy colored fabric surface. The socks from left to right are light blue, orange, and light gray. Each pair is neatly rolled with the cuff edge facing up.
So it was pretty descriptive as to like what directions the socks are facing, what colors they are. So if you're somebody who wants to match your clothes in the morning or whenever, that's a good tool to have. And then also regarding fabric, I have, oh no, okay,
History back button.
sorry, I will screen share again.
Zoom apps with Be My Eyes. Zoom active. The host okay later okay but later okay display this active minimum your Zoom meeting leave this AI join start 5th chat but reaction share button.
Sorry, it stopped my sharing.
Start broadcast 3 stop 2 1. Selected Zoom 0.
We can
Switcher
we can see your screen again, Karoline.
Safari Be My Eyes.
Okay, great, thanks.
Today, 3 Christmas today, Christmas 3 rolled up yesterday, heading, brownish stain on a beige in progress.
So
Be My AI, brownish stain on a beige towel. The stain appears irregular in shape, slightly smudged, and is located near the center of the image. The towel has a textured, looped surface with a deck.
okay, I've stopped it there. So what happens when a blind person has a stain on something or there was a spill? In this case, when we clipped my guide dog's nails, my husband clipped her same nail twice, I guess, and she bled. But I used a towel and I wanted to check, oh, did I pick up anything?
Stain on a beige towel.
Did I pick
Stain
up
appears
anything on
irregular
it?
shape,
And
slightly smudged, and
so it told me that there is. And I have used this so many times when getting ready to leave the house, and I've taken a picture of like something I'm wearing. I wanted to make sure that it's clean. The amazing thing about this is I have used it to color match. I've used it to have it tell me if fabric has worn or is starting to look old. So those are really good practical things that you could use it for. You could also use it to tell you what box of frozen thing you've taken out of the freezer, and it will read you the instructions for that. So I think Be My Eyes has a lot of great tools that you could use, and I encourage you to explore that. I'll switch now to
Be My Eyes.
Seeing AI, which everybody is, I'm sure, familiar with because it's like the one that we had for a lot longer than any others, and it has the lovely automatic text. So your camera sees text, it starts to read it. And that is very useful for everyone, but it also has been expanded to do a lot more. And today I took one picture from my photos and had it described by Be My Eyes and by Seeing AI. And I could not believe this, but I got a better description from Seeing AI. It gave me a little more detail than the Be My Eyes description. So depending on what you want, you can use whichever one. With Be My Eyes, I'm so used to just typing in and asking it more questions like, oh, what is this person wearing? Or what ornaments are on the Christmas tree? That kind of thing. And it will answer them for you. I won't talk to any of these because if I use that, then it will disconnect my screen share. So I will type to ask questions, but with Seeing AI, now they've got it so that you can train it to find an object. So like if you're someone who drops the same object all the time and you want to find it, like your lip gloss or a set of keys, you can take a picture of the object, train Seeing AI, and it will find it for you. It beeps when you've come to the object. It also can take full scans of a document, and it will read that to you as well. Okay. Lee, can I ask you to give me a time check at about the 20-minute mark? Because I don't want to go over my time.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay.
ChatGPT.
Okay.
New keyboard visible.
ChatGPT has been one of the most useful changes in my workflows because it is like having Super Google. I recently was involved in doing a video, and then we were trying to edit the video. I have no skills in making videos or editing them, but we downloaded some software. I got ChatGPT to walk me through the editing process many, many times and to talk about the details of the instructions. And if I didn't understand something, I asked it again and it gave me the same thing again. It has endless patience, which I think is amazing because people can run out of patience, but apparently ChatGPT does not. So,
Return.
oops, no.
Delete.
I'm going to ask it a question and let's see what kind of answer it gives us. I'm going to type a question here.
HOW space how add button. N space can I space I A space change. T space B A K N D space background O N space and what space I P81 iPhone S C O E 1 screen screen D.
And I have misspelled something probably, but we'll see.
Here are step-by-step voiceover friendly instructions to change the background wallpaper on your iPhone home screen. 3 hyphens. Number sign change your iPhone home screen's background with voiceover 1. Open settings from the home screen, flick until you hear settings, then double tap. 2. Go to wallpaper flick right or use the search at the top and type wallpaper. Double tap wallpaper. 3. Choose a new wallpaper double tap add new you'll hear photo shuffle, weather astronomy, emoji, double tap any category you want. 4. Choose the image flick through the options
Okay, I'm just
until
gonna
you hear
stop
one.
it.
Double tap to select.
Okay, so you could see that it is giving me instructions for somebody who's a voiceover user. I had previously told it that I was blind and that I use voiceover. So whenever I ask it for instructions with my Windows computer or with my Android device or my iPhone, it always gives me the instructions with the appropriate screen reader commands. So, like I said before, it remembers the things you told it. So it's really important that you don't tell it anything sensitive. So you don't want it to review your mortgage document or your healthcare records. For that, use a different tool, but this is really helpful. I have heard of people using it to get instructions on how to repair something, how to use a brand new microwave, what are like the musical notes for a song. It's pretty endless. I've asked it for recipes. I've asked it for meal ideas in the past. So those are some of the things that I use for that.
Set it
It really wants to talk. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Lee, what is my time now? I just want to know.
It's 1:33 p.m.
So, but okay, so how long have I been going? That's what I want to know. Sorry.
Oh, you've been going. Sorry, I was going to interrupt you at about 20 to 2, so that you can do some Q&A at that time.
Okay, perfect. So I'll stop with this with ChatGPT because we can just keep going back and forth.
ChatGPT. Set as wallpaper Copilot.
So Copilot is the Microsoft equivalent, and it works pretty much the same way. So I won't demonstrate that one because it's almost not quite identical. Microsoft would not like me if I said it's identical, because I think they have some differences. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about the Meta glasses. I'm not going to show them to you because I'm sure you're all familiar with them, but with the Meta glasses, I have been able to get instructions on the go from them. It is not used as a mobility tool, but it is useful as something that will give you information about your environment. So when I was at the mall, I asked it what's in front of me, and it described the display for what was Hudson Bay Company. I never knew what the display looked like. I actually would like to take them downtown in the next few weeks and have it describe some of the window displays on Queen Street and we'll see what I get with that. But recently I used it at Service Ontario, and I was actually able to read the signs on the wall. And I had gotten, like, I knew that there would be signs on a wall at Service Ontario, which is like a government office, but I did not ever get a chance to read them for myself. When you also go up to like the Tim Hortons counter to order, you can also pre-read the menu with your glasses as well. There was one more thing I wanted to cover. The newer iPhones have access to ChatGPT with Siri. It asks you, do you want me to use ChatGPT with that? So it no longer says, I have found this for you. Here, go to Google. It is much better for me anyway than having to tap something else. It actually just answers my question, which is really nice. What is it? Oh, yes. And then Siri Intelligence or Apple Intelligence is another thing that is going to be more expanded. And apparently you can ask it to send an email. You can tell it to send an email about whatever subject to whatever person or group, and it's going to do that for you. And it can also link to your calendar and all of those things. I think that for us, people with sight loss, it is going to mean a lot faster results for workflows. I wanted to share one more thing before I stop talking and we go to Q&A, and that is how to use Copilot to help you draft letters. So I'm job hunting. I'm always job hunting. And I found a job ad and I wanted to make sure all of the keywords were incorporated in my letter. So I put the job ad, the full text of the job ad into Copilot. I copied and pasted my resume minus my personal contact information. And I asked it to draft a letter based on my resume for that job. And it actually gave me a letter that needed a lot of editing. But what I was able to get from it is that all the keywords that are needed for the job were there. I think that for anyone who wants to ensure that you have included in your report all of the things you wanted to cover, it's a good way to do that. But again, I will remind you that you should not put any personal information in those pieces that you put into Copilot, ChatGPT, Gemini, whoever it is that you're using, because it will remember that. So let me talk about safety for a few minutes. I've been kind of talking about it a little bit, but so things that I consider sensitive, and I think you would agree with me, like health information, names, people's names, especially children, any other things like your mortgage documents, banking, credit cards, all of that stuff, I would keep out of there. Make sure to not include like your phone number. Email addresses are pretty easy to find, but like I don't include my email address in that either. But you want to be sensitive and aware that you're not going to put information about yourself out there that could be used in a nefarious way. So just stay safe, basically, is what I wanted to tell you there. It's the same as any other online things that you do. Don't share things you don't want to, that are not needed to be shared. Okay. I'm actually ready to go for questions, and I'm sure from that we will.
Great. Thanks, Karoline. So if anybody wants to raise their hand for questions, just a quick reminder, it's Alt-Y to raise your hand for questions. And we do have one already, and
Awesome.
that's Christy Braley. If you could, I've just unmuted you, Christy. If you would like to ask the question, please go ahead.
Hi, Caroline. It's Christy. You said that you do broadcasting. What was your where do you do it from? Like,
We
what was the name?
Okay, so I sit at my computer where I'm sitting right now. We use a program called Riverside, but there are other podcasting platforms out there, and we have someone who's amazing at using Riverside to make sure that we all sound good in the recording. The reason we use Riverside is that it actually creates individual tracks for each speaker. So if one person has technical challenges or their voice doesn't work or their microphone fails, everyone else can keep on going, and then they are combined during the editing process. But learning Riverside apparently is a little bit time consuming.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Great. The next person is Sunila.
Hi there. I just wanted to find out, can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I just got Meta glasses and I love it. I love
Yes.
it because when I have to find elevators and all, and the Be My Eyes volunteer can just go through it and show me where it is. If I drop anything, it's easier that way. And it's really cool. And I would suggest that everything should be AI glasses now because it makes the life so much easier, hands-free.
Yeah. What's
And
your question?
also, my question is, what is the name of your podcast? Because I want to subscribe.
It's Triple Vision.
Triple Vision. Okay, thank you.
Great.
Default microphone was changed.
Thank you.
The next question is Hilton. So please go ahead, Hilton.
Hi, thanks for the presentation. I have two questions about security. I sometimes ask chat about health conditions, which I know are age-related. So before I heard you, I would start the conversation with, hello, I have this age condition, this health condition, and this is my age, and I'm a male Caucasian. Am I putting myself in danger for that? And I noticed that once or twice where I didn't say what my age is, it would say, what age are you? Because that's how it comes to the diagnosis. So that's the first question. And second question, I'm a bit of a political junkie. So often I will say to chat, what is the news about fill in the blank in the last 4 weeks? So is that saving? Also, am I identifying myself to nefarious people about my political leanings? Thanks.
I'll answer your second question first. I think if you're not telling it what your views are and you're not sharing anything, you're just asking questions, tell me about whatever. I think, you're fine. And asking about health conditions, like I try not to ask ChatGPT about that. I use like WebMD or Mayo Clinic, which is found on Google, because I find that it's a more reliable source because ChatGPT sometimes hallucinates and you might get wrong information from it. So like just be aware of the sources you get. And I've also had arguments with ChatGPT where it gave me information that I knew was incorrect, and I have told it this information is not correct, and it apologizes, and then it says like, oh, I'm sorry, let me check that again, and it will give you a different answer. So um, you know, don't ask it for information if it's like life-threatening or safety related. I would stick with the well-known, reputable sources for health information. Um, but if it's like a general, how does one get over a cold, or what are cold remedies or something, that's fine. You're not giving it anything. But just be aware of the source and what you're asking for. Hope that's helpful.
Thank you, Hilton. At this time, there are no more questions up, but I have a question. So Karoline, you mentioned that ChatGPT will remember things. Does that include
Yes.
instructions and profiles so that you can, say you can ask it to respond in a certain way or a certain style?
Yes.
Or you can use, maybe not your own name, but I'm talking about this situation. What's changed from the last time I asked? Is it that interactive?
It can be. But again, I wouldn't rely on it 100%. But like you saw that it answered my question with voiceover instructions because it remembered that I had told it that I'm blind. So it does keep a memory of the things you told it and you asked it for.
Okay, thank you. There is one more question that's popped up, and that's from Joseph Sideros. Joseph, you go ahead, please.
Yes, I have a question about hallucinations. How can we check if it is hallucination or not? How would we check for any fact? Let's say it says that the emperor of Rome was not Julius Caesar, and we know that this is a wrong information. How could we check if something is hallucinated or not? How could we check that on ChatGPT?
I wouldn't check it on ChatGPT, but I would open a Google search and look it up and see what it gives me. Because you still have access to all the other resources. So I would compare it, like ask the question in multiple places and see what you get if you're not sure.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Is there any way to check the references that ChatGPT gives us?
You can actually cut and paste the references it gives you and put them into Google. And sometimes it has told me that does not exist, or
Yes, that's what I was wondering, because I heard that there was some cases no one checked it and they were fake cases. So that's why I'm asking about this question.
well, totally. And that's why I wouldn't rely on it for like an academic paper. I would use it as a springboard, or as a good quick way to ask a quick question. But for detailed research, I would still continue to use the proper resources.
Thank you for answering my question.
Can I just add something else about the hallucinations piece? I had occasion with my meta glasses to ask it, like, what's in front of me? What's in this room? And once or twice, it had told me that something was there, but it wasn't. So again, you want to take what it tells you with a grain of salt. It's good to have environmental information, but that's why they tell you not to rely on it for orientation and mobility, because sometimes it isn't 100% correct. So that's just another warning for you.
Great. We're nearing the time. And we have one more question, and that'll be the last question, because then I'd like to give you a chance to, say thank you, Karoline, and to do a last little bit. But Ben, your hand is up. Please go ahead.
Hello?
Yes. Hi, Ben. We can hear you. We did hear.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you,
Yes.
Ben.
Oh, okay. Just talking about hallucinations. I've heard one of the reasons that this happens is because ChatGPT doesn't say, I don't know. Like it will not give you an I don't know answer. So is
It
there a
won't.
way of maybe, would there be a way of making some changes so that, ChatGPT would admit when it doesn't know? And is that a way around these hallucination problems?
That would be a question to send to the creators of OpenAI. I don't know. But I think they should be like I would hope that it would tell you I don't know that information, but it just doesn't. Like it will guess. It will make up stuff. So
Thank
Okay,
you, Ben.
thank you.
I can vouch for the fact that most of the AI, the public AIs, they are programmed to give an answer even if they don't know what the answer is. There
yeah.
are there are private AI programs that will now tell you if you're not. For example, there's one that's built into the legal database that a lot of lawyers use in Canada, and it will give you that admission because there have been a number of lawyers who've been called out by relying on hallucinated legal cases and much
Ouch.
yeah, much to their embarrassment. Hasn't happened to me so far. But thank you so much for this, Caroline. I actually learned a lot that I wasn't aware of about how this technology is being used by people with disabilities, and it was really eye-opening for me. I wasn't aware of Meta AI glasses, but they sound like quite a cool technology.
They are.
So with that, I want to say thank you, Caroline, for your presentation, and we're now going to be turning over to a musical interlude put on by Sky Mundell, who's a blind jazz.
Excuse me, can you just give me a sec? I just got into the wrong dialogue and I need to get out of it. Can you give me a sec?
No problem, Sky. I'll just continue with a little bit of your bio, and then I'll turn it over to you um, when you're ready to go. I'll speak slowly so you have a bit of time. Um, so Sky, as I mentioned, is a blind jazz musician, and he's also a sound engineer. He won a Vancouver's Island Got Talent contest in 2011, and I gather he's played in Vegas a few times at Planet Hollywood. So I was before we got started with the conference, I had a bit of a prelude of what he'll be doing for us this afternoon, and I'm sure we're all going to enjoy it. So Sky, was that enough time for you to get ready?
Okay, now buddy, let me share my screen, then we can get started.
We're ready to go, Sky, whenever you're ready.
Logic Pro. You are screen sharing. Audio now unmuted.
Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear the sound?
Yes, we
yes,
can.
yes, we can.
All right, let's get started, okay? Let's get started.
Audio now muted. Voiceover off.
Sorry, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Voiceover on Zoom. Zoom share status for window system dialog. You are screen sharing. Move to bottom button. You are screen sharing. You are sharing sound.
Sorry, this is... Okay. Can you hear it? Can you still hear it?
Yes, we can, Sky. We can
Sorry
hear it.
about that. Sorry, my sound was it was slowing down and I couldn't hear very well with it slowing down. So I'm gonna try again. Okay.
Go ahead.
Here we go.
So Sky, we're not hearing anything right now.
Sorry about that. Yeah, that's pretty weird that you can't hear it. Is it okay if I just if you just maybe move on and I can sort out the technical issues and then come back?
Yes, I think we'll do that. I think I saw two people with questions. I don't know if those were technical questions or if it would be a good time to answer them, Lee. But
I don't see any hands up.
okay, so that looks like the hands are down. All right. Well, I think the next part of the program was that I was going to turn it over to you, Lee. So I will do that now, and we can introduce the panel.
Great, thank you, Michael. I'm not going to pin my screen, but because I probably should, because I am going to be looking at who is speaking. So I'll ask the panelists to get ready at this point. And I'm going to do the introductions to the panelists so that we can keep on a half decently quick pace. So that's what I'm going to do. The first person I'd like to introduce is Amber Kaur. Amber is deeply committed to advancing inclusion, digital accessibility, and equitable employment opportunities for people with disabilities. Her lived experience has guided her passion for building systems that empower rather than exclude. Amber is a business administration student at Nova Scotia Community College. She's studying inclusive design, assistive technology, and equitable systems. Our next panelist is Yagiz Boran. He is an international physically disabled professional and community advocate with lived experience as a leukemia survivor and wheelchair marathoner. His work covers nonprofit education and international development, specializing in accessibility, well-being, and community engagement. Our next panelist is Alice Grace Chenier. She's a blind actor, filmmaker, accessibility consultant, and disability studies student at Toronto Metropolitan University. Alicia's passion in advocacy centers on authentic disability representation, community inclusion, and the understanding that lived experience is a form of expertise and leadership. And Ben Fulton is a blind Toronto-based human rights lawyer with a practice. with a practice focused on alternative dispute resolution, mediation, arbitration, boards, committees, and tribunals. Ben is passionate about disability rights, activism, and helping people understand their rights and how to fight for them. So the format we will be looking at today is to ask one general question to everybody. And I'm going to ask Alicia if you can please answer the question first. And that is, what does disability inclusion mean to you? What, just in a general sense?
Yeah, I think in my line of work, disability inclusion is really seeing ourselves represented authentically on and off screen and in media as well. I think a huge part of educating the public and general awareness of that is through media and social media as well. So, you know, if you have a blind person, like a blind character on TV, and they're played by someone who is not blind, and in fact just staring at a wall and or in the other direction of someone that they're talking to, it's not authentic. So yeah.
Great. And Yaz, can I ask you to answer that as well, please?
Thank you. And I think inclusion is about belonging and without permission. So like you should feel valued and belong to somewhere without anyone's oppression or biases, and to have your own path independently. So inclusion matters for everyone, basically. It's not about accessibility only. It means that we are not excluded from any sphere, and we thrive as we want, and we want to show ourselves as we wish. Thank you.
Great. Okay, thank you. And Amber.
Thank you. So inclusion actually means to me, taking part into all the activities regardless of your disability or regardless of just having differences in the things that you're going to do. Just for instance, having everything accessible regardless of anybody's, disability, or just making sure that if there could be like people in any ages, who needs extra help or extra assistance, and that should be probably provided in the professional world, in the maybe academic world, as well as in their personal lives, so they can take part and then grow and thrive equally.
Oh, thank you, Amber. And finally, before we get to audience questions, I'll ask Ben to answer that.
Thank you. I think really building on what Amber was saying, and in my line of work, disability inclusion touches on the duty to accommodate. It's that we have the right to be included, and that inclusion means the accommodations that we need to be able to participate have to be granted by the service providers and employers that are providing those services.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Ben. Thank you all for answering that question. It's interesting to note that a lot of you spoke about, having representation, and with your different experiences and information out there. I want to open it up to the audience to ask questions, either to each of you individually or as a group. And I see there's already one hand up, and that's Marcy. Marcielle, can you ask that, please?
So my question, I think, is to everyone, because I'm really curious. Why do you think that inclusion is taking so long? So why do you think that there is so much pushback from the general public to include us?
Great. Does
And
anybody
I'll
want to
send
answer
that to
first?
I'll send that to all of you.
Can I go first? It's Amber speaking.
Please do.
Thank you. So, thank you for your question. And I think it's because it could be, due to lack of awareness. One aspect to it, that people are not much aware for how they have to maybe deal with people who need extra assistance or how to accommodate them. They are not taught uh, in their lives how to just include everybody. Uh, but things are changing. I totally agree. They are taking time. Even like I am a business administration student. So when I actually joined my school, my education was not much accessible for me. But, just when I kept on passing each semester, things became more accessible. Textbooks were more accessible for me. My accessibility specialist actually got like, right and correct aspect of what accommodations I need and what, support I need in order for the education to be accessible for me. So I think it takes time and it is like different for everybody. It's like different for me, it would be different for somebody who is both deaf and blind, because they'll be using captions and different kind of assistive technology, and it could be different for somebody else as well who may have some learning disability issues or cognitive issues. But things are growing, and maybe in the near future we will see that things have been improved a lot, and there is equal opportunities available for everybody. And with the accessibility act of Canada, which is that Canada will be accessible by 2030, which we are just like almost just not very far away from. So let's see what will go on in the future. But yeah, I hope I was able to answer to your question.
Can I add on to that?
Please.
Yeah. I really think, coming from a disability studies background, I think the world and where we are right now is still very heavily based and heavily based on the medical model of disability, where in terms, the disabled person is the one that needs to be fixed, need to be cured, and all of that. But in reality, we need to move towards a social model of disability where it's the actual physical space. And that, I think people are just a lack of education as well as awareness, and really bringing, like, I went to school and like I had no, before I went into disability studies, I went to school to be an early childhood educator. You think we learned about disability? There was nothing. There was one day and it was like one conversation for 5 minutes. And I think that's really in today. Like I think the world is moving towards a more inclusive world. But it's really changing that mind shift.
Great. Thank you, Victoria. Yaz or Ben?
If you prefer, I can wait, Ben.
Yeah, I can just say that
Sure.
I think awareness is a big part of it. People not being aware of what they need to do, people not being aware of what they have to do. And in many times, I think there's a lot of misconceptions about the cost of providing accommodations. I think a lot of people are reluctant to provide these accommodations because they're worried about the cost. And they're not thinking about how, if they provide these accommodations up front, if they're more proactive about it, it actually really won't cost very much to provide these accommodations at all. And in some cases, it costs the exact same to build a accessible house or an accessible unit as it does to build an inaccessible unit if you do it from the ground up.
Great. Thanks, Ben.
To add up Ben's point, actually, like I think inclusion is not basically profitable, and the world is designed for a capital and like kind of an exclusionary system in its essence. So I feel like ultimately this issue is gonna be an ongoing path, and it should be actually. It's the perfect, like the aim is gonna be the perfect, and to reach out that point, we will always learn and grow together in that route. And also the world is changing, the problems are changing. I think again, it's not about only the disabilities that we conventionally talk about anymore. It's also about how we are excluded from the system. So inclusion is a really like lifelong path for everyone, and we should gather all together, not only with the disabilities in our mind, as it's Alicia also really pointed out in a good way, like the medical settings. It's not only that; it's about the perspective we look on to the world also. So it's gonna be so long, but I'm skeptically optimistic. I will say for now.
Oh, thank you.
I
Thank
just
you.
want to say I think that notion of inclusion not being profitable is one of those misconceptions. I think that the market forces are changing, and I think a lot of companies are going to start realizing that there are dollars to be made in inclusivity.
Totally agree on, by the way. Thank you for completing that.
Great. Thanks. And I will say that you're someone who watches a lot of broadcast television. We do know that hearing aid manufacturers have realized that that part of the world can definitely be profitable because they're advertising all the time. So gonna move on though. The next person who's had their hand up for a long time, so thank you for your patience, is Victoria. Victoria, please go ahead. You can unmute.
Hi, thank you guys for this amazing opportunity. My question is inclusion with access to print or audio across Canada, like the challenge that I've been having for someone that love to read. And since that's not possible, just to get like audio book, there's so many different platforms. If you're in Toronto, you don't have access to that. If you're in Mississauga, it's like at this time, I think there should be like cross Canada digital access for people like myself that have print disability as well as brain injury. Like it just, and it also interfere access to education when if I need cloud library, I had to live in this municipality if I need access to Libby. So where are you guys on that?
Great. Does anybody want to answer the question about the inequitable access to different technologies? And I think specific. You had some really good examples there, Victoria. But I'm wondering if there are any other examples that out there that you can see are either geographically inaccessible for some people.
I can actually briefly share something. Actually, it was kind of related with something I recently wrote about the Persons with Disability Day. It was about my country, actually. I'm from Turkey, and there are lots of remote areas in Turkey, as in here also. So that's a really big issue. I totally agree on like even in the same country, in the same, even in the same city sometimes, actually.
Yagiz, it's the interpreter. Can you repeat, there's what? A lot of what in your country? I missed the word you said.
Sorry, there are lots of remote areas, like it's
Remote
hard to
areas. Thank
access
you.
to the, thank you. It's hard to access to the services that people in need. And I watched a documentary filmed in a remote area in my country, and an elderly woman was carrying his disabled son, and then the interviewer asked her like, what would you wish for your son in the future? And she said, I I would wish him to die before me, because she knew that there is no service, and she had been looking for her child for all of her time and without paid. It's a domestic job, as she accepted, but she knows that the time is coming and there is no one, if she dies, and that stuck in me really hard. And I know that there are many from my family also. I know that they had always like fears and uh, like what I'm gonna do in the future. Is there gonna be a chance for me? These are hard for these people who are struggling with disabilities, and I just wanted to share that part. And I agree on that. And there should be so much to work on this issue because like it seems like disabilities are only uh, especially physical disabilities from my own perspective, I would say only suitable for city life and developed countries. You know, it creates even more intersectional uh, exclusions in its way. And thank you for asking that. And I just wanted to share this part briefly. Thank you.
Great. Does anyone else have an answer or a comment on the uh, geographic disparities within accessibility?
Well,
All right.
speaking more directly just to the experience with access to reading material, just to speak to that, there are a couple of services I'm aware of, the Center for Equitable or Equal Library Access, CELA, and then the National Network for Equitable Library Service, NNELS. There, you don't. There's a certain amount of content on each one. Neither one has exactly everything that the other one does. But with those two services together, there is a lot of content that you can access. It's not the easiest to access. There is a bit of a rigmarole to setting up the account and downloading and getting your hands on the material, but there is quite a lot of content there. And also on my iPhone, I've got the Dolphin Easy Reader app, and there's a lot of content that you can download from there. A lot of free stuff from the Gutenberg Press. So there are some resources, and I think that just the era that we're in with all this digital information does have the ability to bridge those geographic barriers.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm going to ask the next person in line because we do have a few people with their hands up. Karoline, one of our previous speakers, she has a question.
So in Europe, there is a change in the language from accommodation to adaptation. The way it was described to me is basically you are not the problem as the person with the disability. It is the job or the employment or the situation that needs to be changed. I think it's a much healthier way of doing things, and it goes more towards the social model of disability as opposed to the medical model. Do any of you think that we are eventually going to see that change come to Canada? Because I think it has a lot of potential to make life a lot easier.
I can answer that first. I think like I want to say yes, but given how, it's been a very slow progressive with getting Canada to be fully inclusive and stuff. I would love to see that. And I really like that word adapt. I have not heard of that change in Europe. So I really hope so. But then again, you have to think about, where are we at right now? And for me, being someone who's blind, there are so many times where I'll tell someone I'm low vision and they don't even understand what that is. And it's just, I think there needs to be more awareness around the disability terms that are in place right now. Stuff like accessibility, accommodations. Not people with without disabilities in their everyday life, they probably don't hear those words. So I think it's something that has to naturally come into their vocabulary and in their everyday lives before we can make those shifts. But I am hopeful.
Thanks.
Excellent. Amber, Yaz, anyone else have any comments on that?
Yeah, I actually wanted to add on something. Can I go ahead?
Please.
Thank you. So, I definitely think that there is a possibility that can happen. Uh, I have not even heard of that term, using adaptation instead of accommodations in Europe. But the world we are living in today and the Gen AI and the, things it's making changes with. I hear a lot of podcasts where they tell what changes is it going to make in writing codes and just for maybe information and technology sector. But keeping them aside, I can surely say that as far as it's concerned to making my life independent, these tools have been very helpful for me. They have helped me to grow, they have helped me to learn new skills, and they have made things pretty easier. And the rate that we see that they are just like developing on and they are growing, and in the coming years, there will be different tools for help, and we'll be in a different world. So I definitely think that the definition of disability is going to change, and not just that, even like maybe new words, the method that Europe adopted, having adaptation instead of accommodations, that could even probably come to Canada, as we are a focused country on accessibility, as well as accommodation. So we can definitely see that in the near future. That is what I wanted to add on.
Thank you, Amber. Our next
I
question.
can add just a
Yeah, please go ahead.
And thank you, Karoline, for your presentation also. And I was actually gonna ask you something which is actually related with your question as well. Like in these technologies, in this development processes, how much the disabled community, persons with disabilities are really included. That's the, I think, biggest issue. And I think about using the right words, right terms in daily life conversations. It's also coming from that. The more people see us in social sphere, economical sphere, they will be exposed to our issues, our concerns and stuff more, and it's gonna be an organic way of, I think, learning those right terms and stuff. And it's again a bigger issue, I think, about how much we are included in all of these processes. Those terms are, I think, even made up with a top-down approach, which shouldn't be there. We need a bottom-up approach about these issues, and I hope it is gonna be in some parts of the world, including here in Canada, hopefully, but it's gonna be really tough for some other parts of the world for sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Yaz. We do have another question, and the question comes from Carly DeWitt. Carly, thank you for your patience. Please go ahead.
Well, I'm thinking, what are some the different, metaphorically speaking, desserts we can put on the buffet to entice businesses to be more inclusive and more accessible? So that way, a person has more than just, it can help you make money using that as the metaphoric dessert in front of their face to act as the motivator. Part of that metaphor.
Yeah, I think I can take this one. I think it really has to do with showing the companies how profitable this is going to become, especially as we have an increasingly aging population. We look at the baby boomers and how their health is progressing. Many of them are going to be acquiring disabilities, age-related disabilities as they age. It's a growing market, and even the market as it is, it's a significant percentage when you look at the bare numbers. And then when you bring in allyship, many companies will get brownie points for being accessible. So when people who are disabled bring to their social networks attention the efforts that a certain company has made to be accessible, they draw in more goodwill, and people are willing to support that company because it supports the people that they know and care about. So through social networking and media and marketing, I think this is really an expanding market, and that's going to like show the companies how much gravy there really is in this boat. To mix metaphors.
I was going to say gravy and dessert. That's all good for me. But that's it. Is there anyone else, Alicia or Yaz, Amber? Would you have anything to say on that one? Okay. Um, we're just at 2:25 right now, and I actually have a question that was posed to me a little earlier when we were introducing this topic, and the topic of inclusion benefits everyone. I'd like to ask each of you in turn to just give an example of where something that you've been doing, whether you've busted a myth or challenged an assumption that someone has, that really flip the light switch on for someone, or where something that was maybe an adaptation for you benefited others around you without them even realizing it. So, Alicia, I can kind of see that you're ready to go on this one, so go ahead.
Yeah, I think what really the thing that really popped was an experience that I had, I would say probably around 6 months ago. And being an actor, I do a lot of self tapes and a lot of auditions, and so I had gotten a call back after submitting my tape, and it was for a character who had low vision and a disability, and for people who may not know, self tapes and auditions over Zoom, you're only seeing chest up. So it's not like I can bring they don't see my disability. So you could tell that disability was kind of an afterthought, and it was just kind of one of those DEIs that they wanted to include in the show. But when they came in, they started asking me, my questions you shouldn't really ask a person with a disability, like, how did you go blind? So you say you're blind, but you don't look disabled. And then that sparked an entire conversation. I'm like, I have a white cane that I use every day. You just don't see it on the camera. And if you took the time to know me, you would know the daily barriers that we face. Meta AI glasses that I use are so helpful, magnifiers, all of the things. But I think that experience and getting to really talk with the casting people really opened their eyes, no pun intended, to disability is a spectrum. Yeah.
Thanks, Alicia.
Yeah.
Who would like to go next? Amber?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So, I think I would say that to answer your question, it's more onto my, personal regards. For instance, I didn't lost my sight since birth, or I wasn't blind since childhood. I lost it later on in life when I was a teenager. So probably, when I was when I was born and I was brought up by my family, and recently later on when I just lost my eyesight, I had relatives or, people around me saying it would be difficult in life to do so and so thing. You won't be able to do this, you won't be able to do that. But slowly when I grew in life, things actually changed. I got to go to school, got to go into business administration program, got to learn different courses, and got to develop different and new skills from there. So I think all that helped to, of course, just break those barriers that I had in my mind. And I just kind of thought that whatever people said me, all that is just like lie. It's like, even I say the same thing to anybody, I even meet today or maybe in the near future, that people just say whatever, like they think maybe in the times when it was difficult for, accommodating or doing things with a disability, but time has changed now. Things have changed now with the help of AI, with the help of assistive technology, and with the help of accommodations, adaptations. It's definitely different. And I have no doubt in saying that, there is a lot that you can do even with, regardless of your disability. And if you have a will to do it, if you have a clear mission, a vision, it could definitely be done. You just need to have the faith in yourself, and you will thrive in the future as well as in the present.
Thank you. Thank you. Yaz or Ben, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I can go ahead. Like in my case, as being a physically disabled person, like whenever I use elevators or ramps, any other person who haven't had any physical disability will also be able to use them, and they prefer using them because it creates comfort actually for others. And like I know many times that my friends, uh, after they got temporarily injured, they started using those things and started asking how you manage those things, and I helped them. So like physical disabilities, the adjustments or accommodations, however we will call it, helps for everyone, I guess, in general. But in my I want to add something else also about my as being a wheelchair marathoner. When I just started that like 5 6 years ago, even my family was kind of against it because they thought about it. It's not something real. I'm kind of being so positive or hype about something, but it's not gonna be something. But I wasn't at there, and I continued on my belief and the wills that I wanna work on. And since then, it was really hard, especially in Turkey. But uh, since moving in here, I have the chance of meeting with many adaptive athletes around Toronto, and I know that it's growing a lot, and there is so much potential for that. And so it's always hard initially, I guess, but you gotta show some resistance. And I think it's also about going out your comfort zone. As a person who had the disability, you gotta force yourself out of this comfort zone. So these are my ideas about how we can achieve the inclusivity in everywhere. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Ben, do you have anything to add at all?
Yeah, I mean, I can, share a similar story. Once when I was walking to a store and there were some people standing outside the store talking, and I, walked around them to get into the store. And then on the way out of the store, they were still there. And I, walked around them again. And one of them made a comment to me that, that I was faking this. And, I was using my white cane, and I turned around and, had a conversation with them about, why do you think I'm faking this? It's like, oh, well, you're walking around us. It's like, well, I can hear that you're talking. Like I have other senses. I have other ways of being aware. So, just, taking the time out of my day to have that conversation with them. I took out my phone, showed them how it works with the voiceover. I use a screen curtain. So on my phone, it's just a black screen, and they can see, like, there's ways of doing this without being able to see, and kind of showing them, busting those myths about, blindness and, the powerlessness that many people think accompanies that condition. So I think it's important to have those conversations with people when they come up.
Oh, great. Thank you, Ben. That's an interesting everyday example of someone who's myth busting. Really appreciate that. We do have another question, and Marcy, that's you're back on the stage.
So my mantra these days has been we are people too. And that's the message that I would like to send to every single person in this world who doesn't know what inclusion means and who continues to discriminate. And I'm just wondering if each of you has a message, if you could send a message to everyone in the world who needs to learn, who needs education, what would your message be? Like I said, mine's we are people too.
I can take this first. Mine, and I have a bracelet with this on. It's nothing about us without us. So if you are going to, and this can work however different ways. So if you're going to build accessibility, you're going to want to bring in the lived experiences of disabled people to advise and to really bring in that perspective. Because if you just put in, some really skinny ramp, that might not work for all wheelchairs. Or if you're going to bring in, signage for people with low vision, some people read Braille, some people prefer large print, and it's just having that wide range of that. So you don't want to go into working on something with the having us disabled people in mind, but not including us in the in the planning phase, the talks of even starting. You want to have us there at every step. And if you're going to make something in media as well, you don't want you got to have authentic representation and or consultings, because it's just, we've seen many problematic movies in the past, which I could go on and on for, but yeah, nothing about us without us.
Great. Who would like to go next?
I can, okay, I can wait.
Great, thanks, Yaz.
Okay. I think transformation is a really strong word, and I stick on that on my path all the time. And my message will be related with that in a way, like our actually the issues, the problems that we struggle or we see as a problem, see as them as problems. I think they might actually be the strongest source of power in the future if we can really transform them. What I mean by transforming them, it's like as in my experience, I always try to get out of my comfort zone, I would say, because as we talked about, like in this medical setting of medical notion of the disabilities creates a comfort zone for us as much as they can. But even if they create those comforts, we should force more to explore, to do. I think it shouldn't be never enough. It shouldn't be like, okay, I'm feeling comfortable right now and it's over. You got to always seek for the new challenge. It's a part of life, I guess, and disabilities create that power to, like, from the very early age, especially for most of us, we learn how to cope with those issues in a really unique way most of the time. I think it's our power, and transforming them and exploring them in an adventurous way as much as possible. Sometimes it's gonna be really hard. You will not like it, but that's the root, and that's the part of it. And you gotta embrace with your challenges, I believe, and spend time on thinking on them.
That's great. Yeah, I like that.
I really like that too. The turning your challenges into your strength, which really I think ties in with my message for everyone, sort of a universalizing message in keeping with the we are people too. I frequently say this to people especially when they're talking about, how hard or difficult it must be to, be a blind person. And I say everyone has their challenges. Because I think everyone does have their challenges, regardless of disability. I think everybody who's living has something that they struggle with, something that they have to work on. And I think so many times, the disabled community, we get sort of looked down on or treated with sympathy or pity. And I think that, again, kind of contributes to a disempowerment. So I try to remind people that other people who may not have that label, or they may not even, people have invisibility disability, so you might not even know what challenges they have. So just try to remind everybody that, this is a universal part of the human experience. We all have something to overcome and work on. And so that's just a way I kind of remind everybody that, we are people too.
Excellent. Thank you. Amber.
Yeah, thank you. So, I just couldn't think of any clear-cut message, but there is definitely one quotation that I use for myself, and I quote it everywhere regarding blindness and my own personal situation, which is the only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision. So, you know, you're you can't see with eyes. That's definitely something not good. But even worse than that is that you don't have a vision in your life. You're not looking forward to life. And I think that's not just only for anybody who is blind. It includes all disabilities, though my quotation is just in that context. But still, anybody who's not looking forward to life, like there is so much in life. There are so many opportunities. There are so many ways of upskilling yourself, learning new things. If people can just be kind to everybody and just you know at least maybe accommodate, or at least just be kind to others, knowing that everybody has their own challenges and everybody takes their time in the transformation stage and growing up and maybe learning differently, because I think everybody learn differently as well. They have their own set of skills that they acquire, and they learn over time. So just having patience, having perseverance, just staying kind to them and giving a chance to everybody, like just not making assumptions or just thinking in your mind, okay, this is the situation, so and so person can't do this. No, definitely giving a chance to them to level up, at least so they can grow, they can learn something, and of course get out of their comfort zone to break the barriers and definitely uh, grow and develop in their life.
Excellent. Thank you. Now we have a few more minutes, so I'm wondering if there are any other questions that anyone has from I'll say the floor, from the gallery, the participants. If you would like to raise your hand, that would be great, because we do have a few more minutes for questions.
So I had a question,
Great.
and I wasn't able to raise my hand, Lee, so apologize for that. If you had a wish list, and this is to all the speakers, but if you had a wish list from business leaders about how they could make their hiring processes like better or more welcoming with, for people with disabilities, what would that wish list be? Would you say? And the reason I ask that is, even at my own firm, we have a committee that does a lot to sort of promote awareness about disability issues, but sometimes we struggle about what concrete things we could do to make our hiring processes more accessible to people. So that's the genesis of my question.
Can I go on that first?
Please, Amber.
It's Amber. Thank you. So, I was actually working on a very interesting project at my school. This was project management course, and I was being the project manager, and I had to decide a project for my own self and to work on it. And my project actually included making workplaces more inclusive for people with visual impairment as well as for people with disabilities. And I actually had introduced two tools in my project. Uh, the name of the project, I got these brainstormed ideas from ChatGPT, but the name I decided for my project was Inclusive Access Accelerator, and the two parts that it introduced were um, firstly the mentorship platform, like the AI-based mentorship platform that would help to connect the mentors and the mentees from the similar industries, talking about barriers they face or things they can do while joining the industry, or just making their workforce more accessible and inclusive. And the other tool introduced having uh, a skill check. No, again, just maybe it was in a form of a survey getting out to employers. And on the basis of the AI chatbot that would be trained in the previous tool, it would actually decide few skill-based questions on it was actually just leveling up as a skill checker. So employers would answer those questions, and on the basis of that it would give them a score that how much inclusive your workforce is. So maybe it's 50%, 60%. What else can you do to make it 70, 80%? There were a lot more things that I was learning and doing on in this project when I got deep into it. But I think these two tools really could help a lot for employers, for even, uh, you know, disabled job seekers, and have the inclusive environment as far as professional world is concerned. I did a lot of research, and at least for all the projects and assignments I had in this ongoing project, I had the sources from Canada. So I think this would probably help. But yeah, that was something interesting just came up to my mind when you asked this question. So I wanted to share this incidents.
Thanks, Amber. Does anyone else want to answer that question from Michael?
I can go with it. Actually, there are too many things to talk about this issue, but I feel like the biggest the bigger the organization is, it's harder to make adjustments and accommodations. Of course, depending on the some most reputable organizations are doing really well, but I feel like whenever I look for jobs, I have that urge to find somewhere more localized, more small sized, to create authentic communication within the place. Because I don't know, it's my bias probably. By the time it got bigger with my negative experiences probably, but I always tend to look for those jobs. The issue is actually, I think, arises from the same thing actually, about like how much the people are asking about our issues. Like they organizations mostly have their manuals to adjust things, but some disabilities are actually unique, and sometimes I might need something else. So it's always better to ask the person and don't think those things as expensive adjustments and stuff. At that point, I feel like it's more about the relationship between the government and the organizations. There should be more of those supportive mechanisms to adjustments also in that point, because I can't say anything if it's a costly adjustment. I can't say much of a thing if the organization doesn't accept. So there are too many things to work on, both government, business, and job seekers in that triangle. But it comes from mostly asking the people who are struggling with the issue. Sometimes there are easier and cheaper solutions, maybe, if you will go and ask to the person directly. Well, I feel there is this gap between the business and the job seekers. It should be more connected about these issues, and it comes from the asking, basically asking to the person. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you all. We are running a little bit ahead of time right now. So I'm just going to ask each of you just to. Okay, go ahead, Ben.
I could probably just add a little to that last one. I think that it is going to be case specific, and I think it's going to, really require dialogue between the employer and the employee. One sort of a pet peeve of mine, not only in the employment sector but in other areas, is screen reader accessibility. That's one thing that I would like to see on the wish list, would be that every piece of software that is designed with screen reader functionality in mind first and foremost, and not as an afterthought.
So from the ground up.
Yeah.
Great. Excellent. So just Ben, I'll keep you on. Oh wait, someone did come up. So I'm sorry, we don't have your name, but it is a 416 phone number. Can you ask your question and introduce yourself, please?
Hi, my name is Terry Lynn, and I just wanted to comment just with regards to ways that we can champion people with disabilities, more specifically our community, people with vision loss in areas of employment. I think that for sure on our end, trying to help resource ourselves as much as possible, like conferences like this, where we're learning technologies or the supports that we might need in order to integrate ourselves. It is double duty. It's work for work, and we really shouldn't have to do that, but we are doing that. But on the other side of that, so I do appreciate all of the apps that were shared and trying to help us to help ourselves. But on the other side of that, I feel like employers really need to champion us in terms of, I love the previous speakers talking about mentorship, providing those mentorship opportunities, as well as ensuring that the procurement of applications and platforms are accessible with screen readers and Zoom text, and we should already have that. We have accessibility standards that are put into place right now, information and technology, that organizations are expected to follow under AODA and OHRC, but also the Ontario Human Rights Commission, as well as the Accessibility for the Disabilities, Ontario Disabilities Act. I think the other thing too for employers, it would be great to see where it's not perfect right now, and I don't think we'll ever be perfect. And if we remember when ODA was around, or AODA in the beginning, we were supposed to already be accessible by year 2025, and here we are still talking or trying to champion some of the things for our specific vision loss community in terms of accessibility. We're still here at the beginning, but it would be nice when we were in the workplace that our allies would also champion our needs, so that we're not always saying the same thing over and over, that I need this in large print, or this website isn't accessible, or when we're doing our work back plans and we're in our teams and we're in our meetings, that we get the information prior to, so that we're not using a screen reader and listening to the conversation and doing all this double duty that we always try to do because we're trying to be, function like a non-disabled community or a community that has vision. So it would be nice if we could have allies championing our needs so that it's not a microaggression where we're saying it over and over again. No, I don't need paper. Thank you so much, but I could use that in electronic format. So your supervisor knows that when we're scheduling an outing that, we already know that sighted guide is going to be required for maybe one of our teammates. So we make that arrangement, without having the person have to ask every single time. So I think some of these things could be implemented where it takes the onus and the emotional burden off of us and places it. We have to be able to step up and say what we need, but we also don't need to have, we shouldn't have to say it over and over and over again. End of thought.
Okay, thank you for that comment. Does anybody want to react to that?
Well said. I really liked the way you put things.
Okay, thank you. We're almost at our time, so I'm going to ask everybody who's on the panel, starting with Alicia, then Yaz, then Ben, and then Amber, just to say, a quick summary, 1 minute, please, and then I will be turning it back to Michael and Sky. So Sky, if you want to get ready, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, and I just want to say I got the technical issue sorted out, so I'm ready to go.
Wonderful. Go ahead, Amber. Oh, Amber seems to be frozen. Oh, there she is. She's back now. Amber, would you like to make a final comment? Or Alicia?
Yeah, I could. I think Amber's on mute.
Okay, great. Okay, yeah, she was frozen there too. So.
Yeah. I can do the final comment. Just want to say thank you everyone for coming today, and whether you have a disability or you were just curious to learn more, this is a part of moving forward in the world and doing panels like this with like such fabulous people on the panel. We're walking in the right direction for more inclusive change in the world. So thank you.
Great. Yaz or Amber?
Can I be heard now?
Yes.
Oh, okay, amazing. Sorry, I was actually muted. I was speaking up, but I was muted, but I unmuted myself now. Thank you for confirming that. And thank you to everybody. Thank you so much for having me here so I could be a panelist and share my experience. There was definitely a lot to learn in this event, and with Karoline's AI story and with all the panelists, there was, everybody's story, there was a lot to learn, and I'm really, really thankful and grateful for the opportunity that I could be here and speak here to my experience. And I do look that in future will be more inclusive. There would be, more doors opened to change. And yeah, like just looking forward to future, and just as much as we are going to grow and raise awareness regarding the barriers which are faced by people with disabilities, and more people who are aware about it, these will be seemed to be changed, and just the inclusive world and future. That is all I wanted to say. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Yes, go ahead, please.
Pretty much we have talked about everything, and I don't remember the name of the person who talked previously, but I agree all of so like we shouldn't repeat ourselves every time. It creates some demotivation in the group, I feel like, and there is too much to work on, and I feel like we are also one of the most strongest group among the world, as people who have disabilities with our challenges and the skill set we have with coping with those problems. So maybe like we will, it's gonna be hard, but we will have more, I hope we will have more position to work on and have a voice on those issues. And inclusion benefits everyone, as this conference team of. And thank you for having me in here. It was a really good meeting for everyone to I grow and learn with you. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Ben, would you like the final word before we pass it over to Michael?
Certainly. And again, thank you everybody for coming and spending your time, taking time out of your Saturday to come here and be here and support this initiative. Don't be afraid to fight for your rights. There is legislation, these battles are being fought and won every day. And the more we keep at it, the more we persevere, the better we're going to make the world, not just for ourselves, but for the future generations. I, graduated from law school with not a lot of prospects. It was very difficult to find a way forward and to get a fulfilling career. And I kept at it, and now I'm pretty sure the first ever blind duty counsel here in Ontario. So, we're making trends and we're showing people that we have these abilities. We have different abilities, but we're certainly capable and worthy of accommodation, and there's a lot of benefit to be had in providing those accommodations. So keep fighting for your rights to get those accommodations you deserve.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much to all the panelists. It was a very interesting discussion, and I think everyone learned something. So thank you again. And without further ado, I'll turn it over to Sky whenever you're ready to start the second interlude.
You have started screen share. Tracks with participants can now see your application. Logic Pro. Alicia, Grace, and Chenier has left the meeting.
Okay.
Zoom. As new system dialog. Audio now unmuted.
Okay, can you hear me? And
We can hear you, yes.
Yes.
Can you hear the sound? Can you hear the sound as well?
Yes.
All right, here we go.
Audio now muted. Justin Better has left the meeting. Wendy Holm has left the meeting. Karoline Bourdeau has left the meeting. Dr. Amos Ratimiachanaku has left the meeting.
Oh, thank you, Sky.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sky. That was quite
This meeting
nice.
is being recorded. Window.
So what I'd like to do
Audio submenu.
is
Start
introduce
video button.
our next speaker, Johnny Tai, who's a blind and partially deaf Canadian Taiwanese artist, martial
You're
arts
welcome.
instructor. Yeah, sorry. So thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Sky.
You're welcome.
So as I was saying, so Johnny is a founder of a program, a self-defense program called Night Strike Self-Defense for the Blind. Johnny's also a tactile artist, and he's been had his work exhibited at various different places. And so Johnny, I'm not sure if you're ready to begin your part of the presentation, but I would turn it over to you now.
Yes. Hi. Check. Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you very much. I actually been here for the last half an hour and heard the great music and a lot of great information, inspiring stuff being said. So thank you. Thank you for having me here. Usually before I start, I make a practice of giving a visual description of what I look like, where I am, because I think, especially in the age of Zoom meeting, Google meeting, it's a good idea, especially for anyone who's constantly involved in sighted meetings, to remind them, hey, even though I'm blind, I would like to know what the person I'm talking to looks like, right? So just really quick, I am sitting at my computer desk. Normally, I do my Zoom meetings in my training area where it looks more professional, but because Marsha asked me to submit a speaker's note, so I am going to stick close to the computer so I can at least be somewhat on track with the speaker's note. Any one of you who's heard me speak before know that I tend to go off the cuff. I never followed any notes or any script. So this is the first time. Anyway, physical description. I'm sitting at my computer desk. You can sort of see my bedroom behind me with a lot of collectibles on the walls, on the shelves. Um, if you guys hear some weird screeching in the background, don't worry, that's just my two cats fighting. They do that sometime. I am middle-aged, I guess, 43 years old, soon to be 44. Uh, 10 years ago, I would tell you that you would be looking at an extremely muscular person, like an Asian version of the Incredible Hulk. And I wouldn't necessarily be lying, but these days, since I'm in my 40s, I seem to be cultivating a little bit of a dad bod. Uh, a while ago, my girlfriend's friend saw my photo and she told my girlfriend, "Wow, he looked like someone's nice uncle or someone's father." When I heard that, initially I was like really, really offended. Like, what? Come on, I'm supposed to be like, way better looking than that, and just someone's uncle or dad. But then I collected myself and I thought, yeah, you're 43, soon to be 44. Most people your age would be someone's uncle or dad, so that's normal. So yes, I do look Asian. I am Chinese, Taiwanese, Canadian. I have long hair, semi wavy down long hair that reach the middle of my back right now. One lock of my hair is draping over my right shoulder, and it almost reached the middle of my chest in the front. My hair is black and streaked with gray. I have my Meta Ray-Ban sunglasses on. So yeah, that's my physical description. Um, and as was said in the intro, my name is Johnny Tai. In many circles, I'm called Johnny Tiger. I am the founder of Night Strike Self-Defense and the pioneer of Tiger Tactile style of tactile slash visual art. When I was 3 years old, I contracted Stevens-Johnson syndrome, which was horrific. I actually don't have any memory of it, luckily, but from the description I got from my family, basically one day I was fine, and next morning, the when my nanny was trying to give me a bath, suddenly my skins were fluffing off, and my dad woke up hearing the nanny scream downstairs, and he came downstairs and saw according to my father's description, I looked like a really well cooked chicken, like just all the skin was just flopping off of me, and everybody was scared. No one knew what was happening. That was 1983, 1984 in Taiwan. Nobody knew what Stephen Johnson syndrome was. Even most of the doctors didn't know what Stephen Johnson syndrome was. Um, Needless to say, it was touch and go. I almost died, and as a result of the Stephen Johnson, I lost eyesight in both eyes. Initially, I lost hearing in both ears. They were able to restore about 95, 96% of hearing in my left ear through a bunch of extensive surgeries, but my right ear couldn't be saved. Um, Fast forward a few years, um, the interesting thing is that when I was little, I did not know I was different. We are talking about inclusion today, and I think this is very interesting that when I was growing up, my family was so inclusive, and everybody had to do the same thing. My father never said, you can't go out and play because you're blind. My father never said that you get an easy pass because you're blind. Um, he hit me just as much as he hit my siblings. He demanded from me just as much he demanded from my siblings. So up until I was like 5 or 6, I had no idea that I was different from anyone else because when we were spending family time together, we were all walking together, we were all doing things together. Like I thought that I wasn't able to. I knew I couldn't see, but I kind of thought that my siblings couldn't see. I just, for some weird reason, I thought that maybe this is something that you grow up and then your eyesight get better and better or something like that. Until one day we were in the park and we were playing ball, and then I got frustrated and I said to my younger brother, I said, "How come you guys always get the ball before I do? How come you guys always find the ball before I do?" And my younger brother just kind of, he was pretty small too, pretty young, and he said, "Oh, didn't you know we can see?" And that was a like very shocking moment for me. Like, wow, really? Like, so it's just me? Wow, that is so unfair. um, when I was 7 years old, about 6 or 7 years old, I came home one day, and I couldn't find any of my toy swords or toy guns or stuff like that. Like back then, we loved me and my siblings and my friends. We loved play fighting, uh, acting out uh, the Chinese martial art movies and pretend we are swordsmen and stuff like that. So we had a lot of like toy swords and toy weapons. I came home from school and my nanny had thrown all of them away. And she told me, she said, I don't want you to grow up to be a vicious person. I don't want you to grow up just knowing how to use swing swords and hit people. I want you to grow up and be a gentle person. Um, so she replaced all my toy weapons with Lego, with plasticine, with clay, and building blocks. And that, I think, planted the seed of me going down the road of becoming a visual artist much later in life. Um, Unfortunately, my father quickly undid what she tried to do. She tried to get me on the path of peace. My father, when I was 8 years old, hired me a private martial art instructor. His logic was, you won't be able to play soccer, you won't be able to play basketball, you won't be able to play baseball. Yeah, back then, beach baseball or any of that, especially in Taiwan, wasn't a thing. So my father said, you need to have a way to get fit. You need to have a way to be active, and you need to have a way to protect yourself. So he hired my first martial art instructor, which was a Taekwondo instructor, and I hated every moment of it. Like my first lesson was my instructor taking me by the hand and make me run barefoot around the parking lot with him until both bottom of my feet were scraped and bleeding, and I couldn't go to school for the next 3 or 4 days because I couldn't even put my shoes on. That was my first lesson in Taekwondo. Okay. So I hated it, and I thought my parents were abusing me for no reason. It wasn't until much later that I realized what a gift they gave me because all through my teenage years, I didn't really have to worry about being bullied in school. Even my older brother, who used to bully me when I was prior to teenage years, once I started fighting back, once I was a teenager, my older brother, well, let's just say he didn't stand a chance. So I didn't have to worry about being bullied, even though I was partially deaf and totally blind. I started teaching professionally self-defense when I was going to college. I realized I needed to make some money because I was living on my own. I moved out of my family when I was 17, started living on my own. So I asked myself, what do I know how to do that I can probably make money? Well, at that time, I really wasn't that good at much of anything other than music and martial art. So I thought, well, okay, let's put together a band and we'll get some gigs and then I could teach martial art at the local gym. That's what I did from early 2000 when I started going to college. And from that point on, I taught many different kind of people. I taught disabled people. I taught people in wheelchair. I taught police officers. I taught people who were prepping to enter the armed forces. I taught um, airport security. I taught border security. I taught bouncers. I taught regular security guys, security guards for different organizations. It's been very long and fun journey teaching martial arts. In 2014, I competed for Canada in the World championship, World Martial Arts Championship called Tafisa, and I took silver medal for Canada in the self-defense division. In 2017, 2016, I became the chief instructor for Commando Krav Maga for our local gym here in Richmond, BC, called Richmond Martial Arts. Now, throughout all this, in the early days, I really wanted to bring more of my training to visually impaired blind people, and I tried to work with organizations. I'm not going to name names here, but I tried to work with blindness-related organizations, but every single time it was like a bust. Wasn't until 2015, after I competed for Canada, that one of my visually impaired students said, "Hey, if you want to do a ride, maybe we should just do it ourselves." And that's when I said, "Yeah, you're right." Um, so that's when I created the Night Strike Self-Defense Group for the Blind here in British Columbia. And what we do is every month we bring our members together for almost an entire weekend, or sometimes just Saturday or Sunday, and we train together, eat together, have fun, spar, work out together for 9 hours, morning to evening. And we do self-defense, we do traditional martial arts, we do a lot of sparring and drills and survival scenarios, and everybody have fun. We also advocate for people who want to go into regular dojos, regular gyms to learn martial arts. So if anyone, like if you go to a martial arts school and they say, "Oh, we don't know how to teach blind people," then give them a Night Strike or Johnny Tiger's contact information, and they are welcome to reach out to me, and I can help them design adapt their programs, or just show them some videos of how it can be done without a lot of adaptation. How did I switch track? Well, I didn't really switch track from being a martial artist to a visual artist. I'm still teaching martial art these days, but how did I get into visual art? It was COVID. So during COVID, a lot of gyms were shut down and stuff like that. And of course, I was pretty much out of work. I still kept up the Night Strike stuff, but we couldn't meet during COVID. So what we did was I would have 3 sessions every week where we get together on Messenger or Zoom, and everybody just talk about self-defense, talk about experiences, check in with each other, and then we would work out together on Zoom. So we would do push-ups, we would do calisthenic, we would do body weight exercises, and just have fun working out together. Needless to say, after COVID, I was having some financial difficulties because of lack of work and lack of students and all that stuff. But one of my friends said, "Hey, do you know those artwork that you make for us through all these years for Christmas and birthday? Have you ever thought about selling them?" And I was like, "No kidding. You think people would actually buy them?" And he said, "Yeah, dude, your artworks are really unique, really awesome. I think people would really get into them if we help you frame them the right way and take some photos." So I thought, well, okay, I kind of really need an income right now. So that's what we did. We framed up some of my artwork, and to my surprise, they really started selling. We started going to art shows, art market, and that became a very good source of income. And for all these years, I thought that if I knew how to do art like this, if I knew how to do this style of art, which is etching pictures into aluminum or copper, uh, I kind of thought that other visually impaired or blind people in the community must be doing them and doing them way better. But after talking to curators at museums and galleries and doing some deep research, I realized that I might actually have created a new style of art without even realizing that I did. And the moment I realized that, it changed everything. Because initially I was thinking, oh, well, now everybody must be doing this. So I'll just sell as many pieces as I can, and that will be that. But now that I realize that I actually created something new, something that can benefit people, that can bring visual people and non-visual people together and do art together, it got a lot bigger. My vision changed from selling artwork to running workshop, teaching this, hoping one day that I will get this new technique into high schools and elementary school. Because I remember that when I was a teenager taking art classes, I managed to go through 5 years of high school art classes, even advanced art, without learning a single thing. Because all the teacher would do was give me a pound of clay, sit me in the corner, and say, "Okay, just do whatever, make something." And so I hope that now that through my Tiger tactile art technique, I'll be able to get art teachers in school to realize, yes, it is possible to draw without paint or color, and it is possible to teach a blind student about 2D and 3D and perspectives and angles and textures on paper without needing them to be able to see anything. Um, so my I'm going to cap this off by saying that, uh, it seems like my whole life teaching martial art, doing art has always been about expanding our boundaries, um, pushing against norms and trying to include everybody. Because one thing that I always believe is that if the world is not ready to include us, then let's reach out and include the world. If the mountain won't come to you, you go to the mountain, right? So one thing that I always feel is detrimental and problematic is segregation. It's sometimes sighted people will say, "Hey, there's a blind guy there. Why don't you go talk to him?" It's like they feel that if you're blind, then you should be in your little group over there. But it's not just sighted people, because throughout my teaching, whether in art or martial art, I've come across a lot of blind visually impaired individuals that say, "Oh, I'm only comfortable with my own people. I only want to do art for blind people. I don't care what sighted people think." No, I think that kind of attitude is very dangerous. I think inclusion should not be just they should include us. I think inclusion should be we include them as well. If they're not educated, if they're not enlightened enough to understand that they can benefit from us, they need us, then let's show them. Let's include them in our life so the whole world can be one big inclusive family. Thank you for having me here. I see that I went slightly over time, which is not unusual for me. Um, I don't know if we still have time for questions and answers, but
We do.
I'll turn it over to, yeah, thank you.
Great, thanks, Johnny. We do have two people who've asked to have questions by raising their hand, and so I'm going to ask Christy to ask a question and unmute yourself.
Hi, Johnny. Thanks for your intro, and you did a very good intro. I would like to find out more about your tactile program, what you offer. Could you, or would somebody, could you tell me a little bit about that? And could you share your web address with me as well, so I could find out more?
Thank you, Christy. So for anyone who's interested, you can find my art information and videos, and it also have a gallery on my website. Uh, it's completely accessible. The gallery have description for every piece of artwork. It also have links to my YouTube um, channel where you can find other martial art and art videos that I do regularly. And just go to tigertactile.com. That's TIGERTACTILE.com, tigertactile.com. And you can even reach out and find me there. I do want to also take this chance to plug my very talented web designer and administrator who is visually impaired herself, and she made my very accessible Tiger Tactile website. She's from the owner of Visibility in Alberta, and her name is Amber. So if any of you ever need an accessible website made for you, let me know.
Thanks, Johnny. Robert Ponto has asked to ask a question, so please go ahead.
Yeah, this is very interesting. I wonder if a blind person, you mentioned all this stuff. I wonder if it would work for geometry, because geometry is to do with angles and stuff. And I heard you mention angles. Could a person then learn geometry?
Robert, it's something that really it's an interesting story that I'll share from my childhood. When I was still in Taiwan before I immigrated to Canada, there was no accessible anything. Like there's no CNIB, there's no accessible technology in Taiwan at the time. So at grade um, at grade two, grade three in Taiwan, we were already having to learn basic geometry. Yeah, in Chinese education, it's crazy that way. So the teacher I was working with at the time actually came up with this system. She took a big wooden board and she carved a bunch of grid into it, like a bunch of squares, and basically carved a grid into it. And she would uh, put push pins into the board, and then she connect the push pins with rubber band to show me how angles work, how geometry work, and how graphing work. That was like one of my earliest memory of someone who was totally sighted, who didn't know anything about blindness, came up with a totally accessible way just off the top of their head. Now, of course, with Tiger Tactile, it is totally way easier to use this for uh, geometry and angles and graphing and stuff like that. So hopefully one day this will be widely used as well.
Thank you, Johnny. That was quite interesting. I really appreciated everything you had to say. And I wanted to know if there's no one else who has questions. I'll just say again, thank you, Johnny, and I will be personally reaching out to you because I am also in the martial arts, and I appreciate what you have to say. And I've seen some of your videos, and they're amazing for me to watch, and I appreciate your talent and your ability to teach. So thank you very much, Johnny.
Thank you.
Enjoy your day, and I'm going to turn it over now to Minette Samaru, who is one of the co-hosts of our and co-organizers of our day today. So, Minette, are you ready?
Yes, Lee. Thank you very much, Lee, and thank you everyone for coming today. I'd like to say that, the AEBC and partners, we have now hosted our successful 9th International Day for Persons with Disabilities. And we could not have done this without our partners, our sponsors, and our steering committee. So I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge all those who have been involved in making this event what it is today. So our sponsors, Ontario Council of International Cooperation, Baker of and McKenzie LLP, Canadian Council of the Blind, BC-Yukon Division, and Trailblazer Tandem Cycling Club. Another partner is Accessible Media Inc., or AMI. I'd like to say a special thank you to our MC, Michael Noina. Michael is not just on your MC today, but Michael is a sponsor, a partner, and has been a member of the steering committee from the beginning. Thank you so much, Michael, for taking time off of your busy schedule to help organize this event. We totally appreciate that. Our Zoom host, Lee Pijo. So Lee, we want to thank you as well. So Lee is not, Lee's our host today, but Lee's also our AEBC Executive Director. So members of the steering committee, Marcia, thank you so much. Marcia has been in the helm of all this organization, and Marcia has done like most of the legwork for this. So Marcia, thank you so very much. Christine, Chantal, Pat, again, Michael, Yumi, Kim, and Sarah. And I'd like to say special thanks to our speakers for today. So Julia, thank you for being here. Karoline, Amber, Yaj, Alicia, Ben, Johnny Tai. Thank you very much. I'd like to say thank you to Sky Mundell as well for entertaining us today. Our interpreters, Francine and Kate, who has made our event totally accessible, and our captioner, Fenella. And last but not least, but I like to say thank you to our audience, because without you, we would not have an event. So thanks everyone very much. And this has concluded our 9th International Day for Persons with Disabilities Conference. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. The session has ended. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and thank you very much for attending our International Day for People with Disabilities Conference.
Thank you for checking out our content. To learn more about the Alliance for Equality of Blind Canadians, please visit www.blindcanadians.ca. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe.